Tonight, presidency fires at the Norton MP, describing his claims about the president's travel to Belgium and Rwanda as untruthful and not factual.
These claims by the Norton MP are not accurate, and as a member of parliament, I was hoping he would have been factual and truthful in his claims.
We'll bring you details as a statement responding to the MP in which he is urged to resist the temptation of engaging in propaganda. We'll get you his response. And Top Story is brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. My name is Ernest Menu. Be truthful and factual. That's the message from the presidency to the Norton MP, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Now, Mr. Ablakwa, in his latest release on the president's foreign travel, had alleged that the president had chartered a German-based private jet operator, K5 Aviation, on his recent trip to Belgium and Rwanda, costing the taxpayer 480,000 euros. As you may know, this is not the first time the Norton MP had raised concerns about what he describes as the luxurious foreign travels of the president. He had even filed a question in Parliament demanding full disclosure and accountability. But you know that the details he sought were declined on grounds it bordered on national security. But today, the presidency has responded to his latest claim. We'll bring you those details. But what exactly did Mr. Ablakwa say? My colleague Kweku Asante joins me in the studio with details of Mr. Ablakwa's statement. Kweku, what exactly does Mr. Ablakwa say on that Facebook post?
So, Ernest, in a very lengthy Facebook post today, the MP for Norton alleged that the president, and let me read part, it says, incorrigible President Akufo-Addo has done it again. After pretending he was a changed man by flying commercial on his last two trips to the US and the UK, he has returned to his grossly insensitive and reckless ways of profligate traveling in ultra-luxurious charters, probably thinking he will escape our unimpeachable surveillance if he switched companies. President Akufo-Addo, on this occasion, decided to abandon his favorite LXDO operated by the global jet Luxembourg and opted for a German-based private jet operator, K5 Aviation. K5 Aviation has been licensed to operate. He gives details about this. K5 also gives the amount that is said to have been paid. So he actually alleges that the First Lady flew on the presidential jet belonging to Ghana to France and start to question why the president will not do same. And so he alleges that for President Akufo-Addo's current trip to Belgium and Rwanda, beginning Sunday the 19th of June, to attend the 15th edition of the European Development Days Forum in Brussels, Belgium, and the meeting of the heads of government of the Commonwealth of Nations in Kigali, we can confirm a conservative bill of 480,000 euros, which is derived from 21 hours of total flight plus other industry charges, working out to some 4.1 million Ghana cedis at the current exchange rate. Ernest.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for bringing us those details. So that's exactly what Okudzeto-Ablakwa said in that Facebook post, and went on to praise the First Lady for using the presidential jet. But the presidency has denied the statement. There's a statement that has been released by Eugene Ayin, who is Director of Communications at the presidency. My colleague Blessed Suga joins me in the studio. And so the first two paragraphs of this statement actually gives a background and details of the allegation made by the Norton MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. But the third says these claims by the Norton MP are not accurate. And as a member of parliament, I was hoping he would have been factual and truthful in his claims and resisted the urge to engage in propaganda. Then there's the heading, the fact of the matter. Blessed, run that by us.
Well, so Ernest, President Akufo-Addo, by the statement, as we understand, left Ghana on Sunday, the 19th of June 2022, to attend the 15th edition of the European Development Days Forum in Brussels and then Belgium. Now, it is public knowledge, as this statement is indicating, that President Akufo-Addo, the emphasis is, did not travel to Belgium aboard a chartered Airbus ACJ319, as is being claimed by the Northern Member of Parliament. Now, the President, according to the statement, traveled to Belgium on board an Air France commercial flight AF0584, which departed Accra on Sunday at 7:20 p.m., made a stopover in Ouagadougou, that's in Burkina Faso, and then continued to Paris in France. Now, in fact, all of President Akufo-Addo's 12-member delegation traveled commercial, as we're getting from the statement. And it continues to indicate that upon arrival in Paris, France, President Akufo-Addo and his delegation traveled via train to Brussels to attend the European Development Days event, where on Tuesday, the 21st of June 2022, he was keynote speaker and later held two separate meetings, as the statement is indicating.
And
now.
The next paragraph says that indeed, prior to President's departure from Accra to Brussels on Sunday, 19 June, Ghana's mission in Brussels had sent notice of an impending strike in the aviation sector in Belgium to the presidency and to the foreign ministry. Indeed, on the 17th of June, unionized Brussels airline workers, including pilots and crew, had announced their decision to embark on a strike beginning Thursday, 23rd June to Saturday, 25th June. This was going to result in the cancellation of over 300 flights, including those from Brussels to Kigali. In furtherance of this, Belgium's largest airport, Brussels Airport, was compelled to cancel all outgoing flights on Monday, 20th June, the day President Akufo-Addo arrived in Brussels, because employees at the airport had joined in the aviation strike.
And as giving all of these accounts, that's why the presidency is stating in the statement that with the president having been giving prior information regarding the strike action before the president's trip to Brussels, the option to travel using a direct commercial flight from Brussels to Kigali was not available. Thus, the decision was taken then to charter a flight for President Akufo-Addo and this time around his entourage to make the 8-hour and 40-minute flight from Brussels to Kigali on Wednesday, the 22nd of June. This was done to ensure that the president made it to Kigali on time to participate in the groundbreaking ceremony on Thursday, the 23rd of June, for commencement of work on the Pan-African vaccine manufacturing project involving Ghana, Rwanda, Senegal, and also the German biotechnology company, as well as attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which was scheduled to be held in Kigali, Rwanda. Now, the statement continues to indicate, Ernest, that I do not think, and this is Eugene Ahin responding directly to Ablakwa, indicating that the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, is suggesting in any shape or form that the President, in view of these challenges in Brussels and also in view of the President's security, should have traveled from Brussels to Amsterdam or London, for example, in a hope of trying to get a flight to Rwanda. Indeed, travel to Kigali for the Commonwealth meeting has been problematic, resulting in Rwanda Air, the national airline of Rwanda, for example, organizing a special flight to convey the Commonwealth High Commissioner.
And then there's an explanation for the First Lady's use of the presidential jet, which Okudzeto Ablakwa praised the First Lady for. What does it say?
So what the statement is indicating about that is that the First Lady arrived in Kigali on Wednesday, the 22nd of June, using the presidential jet. Now, because the plan has always been that the president and some members of his delegation, together with the First Lady, will use the presidential jet to make a 4-hour 45-minute return flight to Kigali to Accra on Saturday, the 25th of June 2022. That's why, indeed, she was seen using that flight. Indeed, for trips within Africa and for trips that do not last more than 6 hours, the president continues to use the presidential jets for those trips. So that's the explanation.
So the
being
presidency is
given to that.
essentially saying that we had planned to go commercial, but upon reaching Brussels, we had actually had information before arriving
And there
that
was
there was
no
going to be a
option
strike
at that point.
and there was no option, and so they had to fly, using this this German-based jet to Kigali in order to allow the president participate
Precisely.
in the activity on there, and to make the point that they were actually determined in using the presidential jet. They say the first lady had flown to Kigali to meet the president, and then they would make a return trip to Ghana using the presidential jet. Blazer, thank you very much for bringing us those details. Let's go into the phone lines now and speak to Samuel Okujetua Blakwa. He joins us on the line. I'm grateful for your time, sir, here on Top Story. So let's take this step by step. The presidency, the first clarification they bring to this is that the president did not leave Ghana in a chartered flight, whereas your post sought to suggest that.
Good evening to you. Good evening to all our distinguished listeners. Where in my post did I say the president left on the chartered ACJ 319 registered D Alex from Accra? I never said that. You have the presidency setting their own questions and seeking to mislead the public and just muddy the waters. Nowhere in my revelations did I say that they left Accra on the D Alex, the 20,000 an hour jet. So let's be clear. What I said was that the charter, we will be billed for 21 hours. When you read Eugene Ahin's statement, he clearly needs education in aviation matters, particularly how chartered jets work. Either he genuinely needs an education, or he is deliberately misleading the general public, and which is conduct unbecoming of a public official. He seeks to suggest that my 21 hours is wrong, and that the flight from Kigali or Brussels to Kigali, in that order, was just for 8 hours and 40 minutes. And so what? Everybody who is conversant with chartered flight arrangements, when you charter an aircraft, in this instance, the ACJ 319 registered D Alex is operated by K5 Aviation in Germany. When they charter the aircraft, they will pay for the 1 hour and 19 minutes. When I tracked, it took 1 hour and 19 minutes for the aircraft to arrive in Brussels. You will pay for that. In addition to that, you will pay for the 8 hours and 40 minutes. In addition to that, you will pay for the layover period. And when I tracked, this aircraft spent some 5 hours on the tarmac, and it is really normal. That's standard practice, because the crew must rest. You will pay for that. And then you pay for the return leg when it's flying back to base empty, because this is not a deadhead charter. So you will pay for that. When you put all of those hours together, the 21-hour analysis that I did was very generous, because you will be getting something in the region of between 27 to 30 hours. But as I always do, I present the floor where you cannot go below, because I do not want to put out a figure and give government an opportunity to say that I have exaggerated or I have inflated the figures. So for Eugene Ahin to be suggesting that it was just 8 hours, 40 minutes, as though when you charter an ultra-luxury aircraft, that is how it works. Please, he should stop this embarrassment to the presidency of the Republic of Ghana. In this statement, what the Ghanaian people expected to see was why, as a country, we have a functioning presidential jet in pristine condition. And indeed, the First Lady can confirm this. She is the latest VVIP passenger to use the presidential jet. She arrived safely. Nothing happened to her. 4 hours, 49 minutes when I tracked Accra to Kigali. Why is the president not using this jet? We don't see any explanation of it. Number two.
Well, Eugene Ahin in that statement said that the presidency is committed, Mr. Blackwell, to using the presidential jet once the trip does not go beyond 6 hours altogether.
Ghana's presidential jet checked the Hansard of December 2018. We were told that it is a long-haul aircraft. And indeed, when you go to the website of Dassault Falcon, the Falcon 900 EXE, the EXE stands for Extended Range. This is a long-haul aircraft. You can fly 9 hours non-stop. That's why President Kufuor ordered it. And that's why President Mills used it. And that's why President Mahama kept faith with it. Indeed, President Mahama has used this aircraft for an 8-hour journey before, non-stop, from Accra to Stockholm, Sweden. So, where from this story? And you see, they keep shifting the goalposts. These are the same people who said that they had been advised by some shadowy experts that they shouldn't use this jet out of Africa. They should only use it for intra-African travel. Now they are shifting the goalposts that on the 26th of June, the president will be using it to Lisbon, Portugal. Is Portugal now in Africa? So you see, they keep shifting the goalposts. The Ghanaian people want to know why, in this period of excruciating economic hardship, a president who promised to protect the public purse, at a time you can't pay NAPCO trainees, you can't pay your school feeding caterers. They say 97 pesos per child is horrendous. They just cannot make ends meet. Increase it to 3 Ghana cedis. You say that you don't have the money. You have all of these bills, your obligations you cannot meet, from Get Fund to DACF to NHIA. You cannot meet all of these obligations. There's total hardship and pain in the most excruciating form. And this is how a president, at this time, that you have asked everybody to tighten their belts. You told workers that they should measure expectations.
Well, but
you cannot increase the minimum wage. You cannot reduce taxes
an explanation
on fuel.
has been offered why the president was restrained in not going commercial, because there was a strike in the aviation sector in Brussels, and that posed a certain challenge for the presidency. Because they needed to meet their engagement in Kigali, they needed to charter this. Does this not suffice?
It cannot suffice. You see, these people should credit Ghanaians with some modicum of intelligence. When you were entering Brussels, you went through France by train. So it is immaterial, totally irrelevant that there was some strike in Brussels. The same way you entered Brussels via train through Paris, you could have gone back via train to any European destination. Indeed, there was a direct KLM flight to Kigali when I checked that same day. So, look, these are all...
But Eugene Ahin in that statement also raises the issue of security. That even if it were possible, the issue of security was at stake. And this is the president of the country, Mr. Blackwell.
So you use the presidential jet. You see, we are coming back. You see, all of these, afterthoughts, these, totally illogical explanations will have had relevance if Ghana did not have a functioning presidential jet. We have a functioning presidential jet that his predecessors used. It is only 11 years old or 12 years old now. We've entered 2022. There are other presidents who are queuing to use our jet. There are other presidents who are not as fortunate as we are. Take the Namibian president, who has an inferior Falcon, the 700 version, more than 30 years old. He has kept faith with it. He's still using it. Nothing has happened to him. So as the defense minister told us in Parliament, whether it was a Freudian slip or not, it was clear he's made a statement that the president wants a jet that he can shower in the skies, he can be more comfortable, and he can have luxury and go straight into his meetings. So all of this, we are where we are because of a president who doesn't want to be frugal, who does not want to be prudent, who does not want to be empathetic with the Ghanaian people. A president who has opted for ostentation, who has opted for extravagance, who combines what Arabian kings, Russian oligarchs, British aristocrats will even be jealous of. That is what President Akufo-Addo is doing. And there can be absolutely no justification for the kind of confirmation that Eugene Ahin is giving us in that statement. The presidential jet could have picked up the president. He could have sent him to Kigali. There was absolutely no reason why the taxpayer should be billed 4.1 million Ghana cedis. Can you imagine? 480,000 euros. Imagine what Ghana can do with that money in these tough times that we can't pay contractors, we are not paying school feeding caterers, NAPCO trainees. Imagine what 4.1 million Ghana
Mr. Blakwa, your earlier attempt to have full disclosure and some accountability on these foreign travels hit a snag because the National Security Minister said these matters bordered on national security and they could not be disclosed. On this particular matter, do you have any intention of moving this in Parliament or taking some action on it?
We didn't buy that really shameful excuse that this borders on national security. I'm in Ghana. I know the cost per hour of flying Air Force One, President Macron's jet, Potam. I know the cost per hour. I know cost per hour for even the Queen, of England, the British Prime Minister. Look, this is a democracy. People must be accountable. Leadership must be accountable to the people. So we are not buying these attempts, to hide under the cloak of national security. And that is why one of the motions we have pending in Parliament is for a full-scale bipartisan inquiry. My colleagues, the Honorable Zaneto Rawlings, the Honorable James Adalga, Atu Forsen, and myself have a pending motion. And one of the things we will do, because as I said in my statement earlier, I had thought that the president was a change man and decided to now walk the straight and narrow path of righteousness. But clearly, he intends to continue to just, milk us dry and just suck the blood out of everybody. So we will go back to that motion. We will respectfully plead with the Speaker that this motion should be tabled. Let's have this bipartisan inquiry because this cannot continue. Look, just within the last 18 months, if you put together the president's travels, it's now in the region of about 40 million Ghana cedis. Can you imagine what we can do with 40 million Ghana cedis when we have a presidential jet?
Well, Mr. Blakwa, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much for your time. That's the Norton MP Samuel Okudzeto Blakwa, who is standing by his latest claim that the president made travels to Belgium and Rwanda, chartering a private jet at the expense of the taxpayer. We made attempts to reach out to Eugene Ahin, who issued the statement. Unfortunately, we did not get through to him to provide some more explanation on this. But when we do, we'll bring you that interview. That's it for Top Story, brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. Ghana Connect comes up shortly.